Other Dmitry Mazursky from Russia. And we're underway. Oh, what a block. 1 point in the books, but it feels like more. Riccardo Lucarelli, just 22 years of age, wearing number 10 in a bright yellow jersey. Could not have asked for a better start. And that ball served out of bounds. Lucas is a very good server. That's something that he's really added to his resume over the last couple of years. Mario da Silva now will come on, the libero. And Ngapeth will go back to serve. Story for France, first ball side out, quality serve receive. And the way they've played so far in this tournament, they've established themselves, in my opinion, as sideout goes downtown, as the best defensive team in the world right now. And so Bernardinho, the head coach for Brazil, said we have to be very, very, very patient because they're going to make us play for a long period of time. Nice crossbody by sideout. And Kevin Leroux answers right back. And interesting to start out, Wallace, who again sprained his left ankle earlier on in the tournament. A couple of teams have been beset by injuries, Russia along with Brazil, and he did not get much lift on that jump serve, so that's going to be something to watch for. Leroux likes to serve wrist away, in other words, from the middle of his body line out to his right side, and he misses that one into the top of the tape. Both teams have to serve tough, but that doesn't mean hard. They have to serve very, very strategically. And for those of you at home, the man opposite Riccardo Lucarelli in the left front, Murilo Andres, the 2010 most valuable player, is the best passer in the tournament, maybe the best passer in the world. So France has got to avoid him almost at all costs. Murilo with another stuff block. And Antonin Roussier, you know, you talk about the serving and the offense of Brazil, but boy, they are really a good blocking team. I talked to Murilo this morning and asked him about his hamstring that he injured for the first time against Bulgaria earlier on in the tournament on the 6th of September, and then he injured it again against Russia on the 14th. He did not play against Poland, but did come back against Russia. Bruno with the joust, and Le Goff able to win that. A little bit of a misjudgment that time by the Brazilian setter. So Murilo now passing the left side for Brazil, and France has to serve tough, but they have to avoid him. And they do not. Boy, already, that's a big mistake already. I spoke with Laurent Tilly, the head coach for France, and I asked him how many balls was Murilo going to pass, and he said, I know it's impossible, but I hope 0. He's already passed 1, and it's 5-3. Something to watch out for as this match unfolds. Sideout. Good blocking defense by both teams, and Wallace closes out the point. Brazil with an excellent start. Sideout again. Both middle blockers for Brazil are exceptional servers. Sideout not with a lot of lift either, that heavily bandaged left knee. Again, I went to the gym, not their gym, my gym that I joined temporarily this week here in Katowice. I go in to work out, and they're all the Brazilian players, so I had a chance to talk to Sideout, talk to Bruno, talk to Murilo about how they were feeling physically. Murilo, according to the medical staff, is about 90%. And nothing wrong with the young legs of 22-year-old Riccardo Lucarelli. Back row, quick combination. A BIC, if you will, developed by Jiba many years ago, along with Murilo, and now just about every men's team in the world runs it. Very difficult to defend. Again, Murilo maybe can't do what he used to do offensively, but already 3 stuff blocks for Brazil, and they have gotten out to a very quick start against France at the first technical timeout, leading 8-4. Welcome to semifinal Saturday in Katowice, Poland.
On va commencer à jouer avec eux, ok? Faut qu'on aille un peu plus au soutien, juste sur la tournée. Et a priori, je joue beaucoup de fixe pour le moment, d'accord? Donc on peut s'engager un petit peu plus, ok? Attention.
Two very accomplished coaches. Laurent Tilly, one of the great players in the history of France, played in 406 international matches, 2-time Olympian, and led his country to the only medal they have ever won at the World Championships. That was in Argentina back in 2002. So for Brazil, you couldn't have drawn it up any better. They're getting blocking from an unlikely source, Murillo and Ricardo Lucarelli. They're serving pretty well. France has been passing all right, but offensively, they just can't seem to get it going right here. That ball by Ervan Ngapeth off the block and out of bounds. Ngapeth has had a wonderful tournament. He absolutely shredded Germany the opening night of the 3rd round that catapulted France on their way to the semifinal. Here's Le Goff. That's why you avoid Murillo. Get on another passer. Murillo right side. They will not set Murillo very often, so the other players have to pick it up. Murillo had shoulder surgery about 14 months ago. Just does not have the heat that he used to have, and then with the leg injury, but he's out there to pass and play defense and obviously to block, but that means Lucarelli and Wallace and Sideout and Lucas have to pick up even more at the offensive end. And here is Murillo. That shoulder is still nowhere near 100%, so he is not able to spike serve at all, as Antonin Roussier, the all-important opposite for France, second leading scorer in the tournament. Very nice shot off the edges of Lucarelli. A lot of different ways to put the ball away. That was nicely off the edge. So look at the bad passing when Murillo doesn't touch the ball. Super shot by Lucarelli, tucking that ball away from Ervan Ngapeth. So Lucarelli off to a very, very good start. A lot expected from this young man. Took over that spot from Giba, one of the all-time great players, not only for Brazil, but in the game in the last 25 years. France has got to put these kind of balls away. Leroux was very late out of the middle, no threat there. Terrible set by Murillo, but what a shot. Wallace is such an interesting player. The perfect set, in general terms, is about 2 feet off the net. But for Wallace, he wants the ball right on top of the net. He's a very vertical jumper. I still say Murillo made a mistake there, but Wallace bailed him out. Big lead here for Brazil in the opening set. Nice play by Murillo, getting into position. This is what France does, and that ball is stuffed. Boy, that's not a smart swing by Ngapeth at all. Yeah, Laurent Tilly needs a timeout. Ngapeth should have never swung at that ball. In that situation, you're completely trapped. You just tip the ball up into the block and try to restart the point. And Laurent Tilly calling a much-needed timeout here. Let's listen in.
C'est tous les petits détails, c'est là où ils sont plus forts que nous pour le moment. Il faut qu'on soit patient, d'accord? Il faut qu'on fasse jouer. À l'attaque, faites les blocs à haut, tapez vers l'extérieur dès que vous pouvez. On lève la balle et on n'a pas le peur du bloc. Il faut lever les balles pour qu'on puisse avoir le temps d'attaquer dessus, ok? Point par point, les gars, point par point. Allez, 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 allez.
Giving you a little bit of history in international competition, the Olympics, the World Champions, World Cup, World Championships, Brazil is 23-5 versus France. Their last meeting was in 2013 in the World League during the preliminary round when they split wins and losses at home. And Gapeth again. Lucarelli doing a really good job blocking, finds himself in the middle, and Lucarelli again. Lucarelli out of position. Sideout had drifted to the left side, and then Lucarelli, number 10, who's always an outside blocker, found himself in the middle. And Roussier is off to a terrible start, as is France. He's taken 5 swings. He's been blocked 3 times and hit 1 ball out of bounds. Ball deflected over the top of sideout. Both of these teams with very, very challenging roads into this semifinal round. I'll run through that when we have a moment. Here is Ngapeth, and misses that. France started out in the most difficult group. Beat Puerto Rico, lost to Italy 3-2, beat Iran, a team that made it to the final 6, beat the United States, ranked number 4 in the world, and beat a good team from Belgium. After this point, I'll give you the rest of their road into this final 4. Here is Wallace. He's loosened up a little bit. Good lift, good heat, but missed it in the top of the tape. Then in the second round, it didn't get much easier. France beat Argentina, beat a good team from Australia, beat Serbia 3-1, and then lost to Poland 3-2. Then they qualified for the final 6. They beat Germany 3-0 and beat Iran 3-2. Roussier right on the back line, as Lucarelli had to do a little bit of a tightrope act and was in no position to block. Look at Lucarelli. Sideout is trying to cover for him. You can straddle the center line, but if a foot or a hand is completely on the opponent's side, then a violation will be called. Here's Leroux, who misses that out of bounds. Now, as far as Brazil is concerned, a little bit of an easier road. They started out in the first round, beat Germany 3-0, Tunisia 3-0, Finland 3-0, had a little bit of a scare, quite surprisingly, against South Korea, and then beat Cuba, a team that used to be elite and is no more, 3-1. Here's Lucarelli. Brazil leading 15-9, opening set. Semifinals still to come, Germany and Poland. Smart swing into the block. Restarting the point, then over the top, no touch detected. The ball is out of bounds, and we've quickly come to the second technical timeout. And I thought the key player in the match for both teams was Antonin Roussier. And for France, he has gotten off to a terrible start. Bernardo Rezende, now 54 years of age, took over the Brazilian program in 2001. And 14 years later, he's the most successful coach in men's volleyball history. Continuing on their journey to this Final Four. Second round, Brazil beat Bulgaria, a team that's in complete disarray. Beat China, not a challenge. Beat Canada, that's a much improved team. Beat them 3-0, and then beat Russia 3-1. That was still in group play, and then on in to the round of 6. Brazil was placed unbelievably with Poland and Russia. Lost to Poland 3-2, 17-15 in the 5th, then came back to beat Russia 3-0 to advance again into this Final Four for the 8th time. Easy serve by Lucarelli, and that ball crushed by Le Goff. And here's the substitution. Well, this is part of the, this is not the double sub. Yes, it is. We'll see if Roussier stays on, because Laurent Tilly told me that if Antonin Roussier, the second leading scorer in the tournament, if he was struggling, there would be no hesitation whatsoever in putting in Mori Sidibé, who had 21 points in a mop-up effort against Iran. So we'll see if this is just the double sub, which is used to strengthen your lineup. Wallace unloading. That ball into the second setter, Yohan Yomel. Wow, look at that. That was almost a facial. Now the double sub, you bring an attacker in for the front row setter, you bring a setter in for what has become the back row attacker. So you have 3 attackers, 3 blockers in the front court. It gives you a little more strength as far as the balance of your offense. Murillo is just blocking lights out right now, as are the rest of the Brazilians. Quickly to the outside, Murillo into the cross court. Dug by Grabinikov, blocked again. Back set to Lucas, off the block and over the barrier. Brazil is off to a perfect start so far. This is the double sub, so at least as of now, Laurent Tilly has not taken Roussier out of this World Championship semifinal. But I think he's on a very, very short leash. Here is Sideout. Boy, he is not 100%. Not 100% at all. Barely any lift. And you saw that he's been off balance a couple of times. Footwork, eye work, absolutely key for a middle blocker. And Sideaut's foundation is not stable right now. Wallace, change of pace. Good swing by Ngapeth, but no touches called. But we're going to have our first challenge of this semifinal Saturday. 2 teams have 2 challenges apiece. You can challenge a touch on the block, net touch at the top of the tape, center line violation, 3-meter line violation, foot fault violation. Simone Santi, the second referee from Italy, now currently taking a look at the replay monitor, and there was a touch. So good use. Let's take another look. There it is, right off the inside finger. That was a micro touch on the finger of Lucas there. So Laurent Tilly, if the challenge is proven correct, you keep it, and that ball served out of bounds. 19-12, all Brazil so far in this opening set. Here's the setter, and again the coach's son. 2 coaches' son pairs in this match. Ngapeth off of Wallace, out of bounds. Laurent Tilly and his son Kevin is starting outside attacker number 7 in blue. And Bruno, the captain, 2-time Olympian, 2-time world champion. Nicholas Marszal back to serve, plays professionally here in Poland, so the Polish fans very familiar indeed. Got a pretty live arm, tough serve, and they are avoiding Murillo at every opportunity. And Riccardo Lucarelli is off to not a good start. Just too early to say great. I try to avoid using great in the first set, but he is off to a flawless, that's a good word, off to a flawless start so far. Filet Fonteles goes by Lippe on. Very, very good arm. He'll come in and bang this jump serve. Big lead for Brazil. That ball kept alive by Lucas and finally stuffed. I've seen Lucas do that before. A ball will be dropping inside the block and he will, just as calmly as can possibly be, whip out his size 18. I don't know what it is in European sizes, maybe a 54. And he'll just keep the ball alive with his foot, which is legal now. Roussier coming back on. Lippe will head to the sideline, also plays professionally here in Poland. Top league here in the host nation. The best men's professional league in the world is in Russia. Poland and Turkey are probably vying for second and third, with Italy right there as well. Lucas Satkamp. This is a wrinkle that is really kind of unique to Brazil. See a lot of women's teams that run a backslide, one-legged takeoff, which this is not. This is just a straight back one. But very few teams, very few, run it. But Brazil does to very, very good effect. Lucas Satkamp missing another serve out of bounds. 21-15. Brazil led at the first technical timeout, 8-4. The second technical timeout, 16-9. Irvin Ngapeth has started to work his way into this match a little bit, but he needs some help. Working his way in indeed. Big ace for Irvin Ngapeth. That's his 14th ace so far in these World Championships. And a timeout called by Brazil. Bernardinho Rezende not taking any chances whatsoever. Score is 21-16. Let's listen into the Brazilian huddle.
Ele vai vir aqui de novo em vocês dois, Mário. Mário, vai. Você fica mais solto, os dois estão concentrados aqui. Tá, eu dou uma quebra lá, você fica solto por lá. Eles dois estão aqui, tá legal? Atenção a fita, atenção a caixinha, vocês estão lá, tá? E o Wallace idem lá, fala com ele, tá? Bora rodar essa aí, moçada, rodar agora. Vai, Wallace. Fica só na fita aí, a caixinha, se ajuda lá.
Perfect serve and a great look from behind. Irvin Ngapeth, you know, if you hit the ball 100K, 60 miles an hour, okay, fine, but you got to find gaps. If you hit a ball really hard with good true top spin, and if you hit it to somebody, making Murillo move once again, you got to make receivers move. And Irvin Ngapeth is trying to get France back in this set. Maybe it's too late. Most likely, it's too late. Brazil still with a 4-point advantage, but now France is getting a little confidence, getting a little feel. Bruno taking a look around, out to Lucarelli again, who somehow finds a small seam to get that ball through the block. But France is going to lose this opening set, but they've accomplished quite a bit here at the end. They've got a feel, they've got some momentum. Irvin Ngapeth has joined the fray, if you will. What France needs is better passing, so Leroux and Le Goff can get started offensively. Looking at Simone Santi, the umpire, is asking the technician to roll forward. These technicians are really a sub-MVP, if you will. They really know what they're doing. They really know the game. And they roll to the exact piece of video that's being challenged. And as a coach, you can't just say, I challenge the point. You got to say, I challenge the 3-meter line. I challenge the center line. I challenge the touch. And that's what these technicians will roll to. Laurent Tilly was challenging whether or not there was a center line violation. There was not. Again, the foot or hand has to be completely over the line. And now, as France used the double sub before, now Brazil, which uses it almost all the time, Rafael, 35-year-old backup setter, will come on, along with Visotto up front, number 6 in bright yellow. Tilly down the line with a nice kill. So Kevin Tilly has gotten involved once again. Leandro Visotto, 2 meters, 12 centimeters, 6'11" in at the opposite. Did a wonderful job for Brazil filling in, playing the entire match against Russia when Wallace was out with a sprained ankle. You really have to manage your team throughout the course of a 2.5-week tournament. This is the 12th match for both of these teams. Leroux. Lucarelli high off the inside hand of Le Goff and out of bounds. We'll get the stats in between sets, but I think that Ricardo Lucarelli might be pitching a shutout right now. I think he has been perfect so far in attacking, and he's had some tough swings. Back row combinations, okay, fine, but he's hit some big balls against 3 blockers. 23-18. Leroux is blocked again. And Visotto. Visotto will get credit again for ending the point, but Murillo right now, he owns Antonin Roussier. Absolutely owns him. He's gotten him twice one-on-one. Set points now for Brazil. Le Goff is blocked, good cover, and Gapeth keeps it alive, but off of Roussier and out of bounds. So France made a bit of a move. They got to within 4 at 21-17, and then, as I thought, Brazil was certainly going to win that opening set. They just had too big a lead, and they do. First set of this semifinal to #1 Brazil over #13 France, 25-18 here in Katowice. Take a quick look at the stats from the opening set, won quite easily by Brazil, a score of 21-18, 13-10 in attacks, but look at the blocks, 7-1 for Brazil. Look at that. Murillo was incredible, Visotto got one late, Ricardo Lucarelli, Sideout, along with Lucas, and big stuff blocks like that have a psychological impact as well. I mean, those are really, really big points for Brazil. And Antonin Roussier, very curious. Yes, he's back out on the floor. The opposite for France, plays is professional volleyball in Ankara, Turkey. On the national team since 2006. 2013, he was the European Championships best spiker, but he has not been that so far against the likes of Murillo and the rest of the Brazilian blockers. And if he gets off to a slow start here in the second set, he's coming out, and you're going to see Mori Sidibe. Laurent Tilly told me that Sidibe is ready. He's really good off the bench. He's sitting over on the bench right now, right next to one of the French assistant coaches, and he's going to be into this match. And one of the things that Coach Tilly told me as well is that Sidibe has played some of his best matches against Brazil. It's only one set, best 3 out of 5, and here is Lucas. Good pass by Grubinikov, and that's an incredibly important swing for Antonin Roussier. 2 meters, 1 centimeter, 6'7" if you like. A lot of people around the city of Katowice have been asking me what I thought about this semifinal, and I'll share it with you as well. I thought Brazil was a significant favorite. 1, because I think they're a more talented team. 2, because I think their level of experience in moments like this is incredibly large, and what a gap relative to France. But thirdly, I thought that Antonin Roussier was just not reliable in a match like this. Yes, he's the second leading scorer, but among the leading scorers, he has by far, the most errors at 62. Tilly through the block and down. Just handed the stats from the opening set, and I was wrong. Lucarelli was not perfect. He was only 6 of 8 attacking. Pretty darn good. Roussier was 2 of 8, and he was blocked 4 times. And Irvin Ingapeth was only 3 of 9. France cannot win, cannot come close to winning unless their 2 star players start picking it up. And picking it up in multiple ways. Ngapeth is a good receiver. He's got to receive really well. And one of the things that France does better than anybody in this tournament is play defense. And you haven't seen that on display at all so far. Here's Wallace. Leroux over the top of the block, but out of bounds, unforced error. I like the choice, though. If you're Benjamin Toniutti, the 24-year-old setter and captain, clearly the ball was out of bounds, but that gives you an idea of the camera angle if there should be a challenge. I think Toniutti, on a perfect pass, if they're in system, France should go right back to the middle. Jump float serve, catches a little bit of a drift and carries long. Just a knuckleball and sometimes a little bit hard to control. Leroux will go back to the line. Kevin Leroux, now 25. Plays for Piacenza in the Italian league on the professional side of things. 6'10", 209 in terms of meters and centimeters. Transition opportunity, Tilly into the cross court. Good response by the coach's son. See, when Brazil is out of system, when they pass the ball very badly and they don't have a good swing, they will give you the ball because they have so much confidence in their block defense phase. They won't make careless hitting errors. And when they give France the ball, France has to take advantage. Leroux off to a pretty slow start from the service line. He has served well in his 2 previous matches here in Katowice at Spodek Arena, which means the flying saucer, and it certainly looks like one from the outside. Second semifinal, Poland and Germany. Here's Lucarelli, and that ball is missed out of bounds. You're going to see a lot of missed serves at the highest level of the men's game, because you have to, you must get your opponent out of system, off the net. Because if the ball is passed to the net on target where the setter has the choice of all of his weapons, 3, usually 4, the receiving team, when they're in system, will be successful probably about 75, 80% of the time. 3 straight missed serves. Good tap down that time in the read by Toniutti. Brazil wanted a lift on that first contact, but Bruno knows the rules. First contact, almost anything goes. And I think that's a good idea. Kevin Tilly played college volleyball, which is quite unusual. Most of these players turn professional at 18 or 19. Had a very, very successful collegiate career at UC Irvine, University of California, Irvine, about 50 miles south of Los Angeles. Won 2 national championships there. Coincidentally, for John Spera, who is now head coach of the United States. Here's Bruno. And that ball is served out of bounds. So one service error after another. That has been the storyline here at the start of the second set as we've come to the opening technical timeout. Second set, Brazil leading 1-0. France on top here, 8-6. You think it's noisy now. Wait until about 8:45 when Poland takes the court. Poland currently ranked number 5 in the world. Not a surprise to me that they made it to the final 6, but in a tournament of surprises with France and Germany making it to the semifinals, it has in some ways been a very unique World Championships. Irvin Ngapeth, I think there was a touch on that play. There's going to be a challenge. First challenge of the second set, and from my angle, it looked like there was a touch on the inside blocker Wallace. Simone Santi over at the table, and just like that, isn't the challenge system so good? And there it was. Good use of the challenge once again. And as I thought, off the inside hand of Wallace. So France still has 2 challenges at their disposal, but most importantly, they're on top 9-6 here in the second. Back quick again, and Ngapeth with the block. This ball's got to come. Into the middle to Leroux, into the deep cross-court corner. Nice wrist away out of the middle by the big middle blocker. And now France leading 10-6, and yeah, good response by France, and Brazil has to call a timeout. If I'm France, I think that's a real opportunity because they're going to get one-on-one in the middle. And right now, the outside blocking system for Brazil has been fantastic, as evidenced by 7 blocks in the opening set. And also to continue that thought, if France sets the ball to the middle successfully, all of a sudden you're going to have to see Lucas and Sideout, the 2 middle blockers for Brazil, commit. In other words, jump with the French middle attackers. And then all of a sudden life will be much easier for Irvin Ngapeth and Antonin Roussier on the outside. Look off again, coming out of the timeout. Into the middle again and down. Good adjustment by France. And both the middle attackers, Leroux and Le Goff for France, can match up physically with Sideout and Lucas Satkamp. That ball is crushed into the cross court. Wallace, an absolute mismatch against Benjamin Toniutti. France leading 11-7. If you're just joining us, Brazil, the 3-time defending champions, easily won the opening set 25-18. Here is Murillo. Not a threat offensively, not a threat from the service line, but he still may be Brazil's most valuable player. Back row, quick combination. France is a different team in the second set, and it started with good serve reception, better defense, and they've been serving much, much tougher, getting Brazil off the net and out of system. Lucarelli again, and another stuff. Maybe this will get Roussier started at the offensive end. France was outblocked 7-1 in the opening set. That's a good reach into the cross court. You want to be a little earlier with your left hand. A little bit lucky there. And Lucarelli comes right back one-on-one. That's what happens when you're in system. And that's why I was talking about, look at that. All the choices, Lucarelli had lots of room anywhere, but particularly down the line. Perfect pass by Grubinikov and Roussier. And did you see the middle blocker for Brazil had to commit? Sideout jumped with Leroux. Watch the play out of the middle. Watch number 5. There he goes. He's out of the play, tries to get back in. Nice little tiptoe to try to be involved in the block. But that's the effect of the attacks going to the middle successfully by France, as Ngapeth comes back and misses that out of bounds. That's the game within the game. As an opposing middle blocker, are you going to commit? Are you going to guess? Are you going to read? What are you going to do? Here's Wallace. Roussier, that's gobbled up easily. And Brazil makes France pay the price. Not too many off-speed shots are going down, quite frankly, against either one of these teams. They're both superb. I think France, best defensive team in the world right now, best digging team. And Brazil not that far behind. Wallace comes in for Bruno. Rafael comes in for Visotto on the double sub. Pretty hittable ball. Like I said, off-speed shots not going down, but that was a good choice by Lucarelli. And Roussier is blocked again. Three-man block against France, and Laurent Tilly, they led it 8-6, they led it 14-10, and he will burn a timeout at 14-11.
Varier au jeu comme ça, passer par le centre et au duel, c'est parfait comme ça. Bien égal, bien égal. Allez. Donc peut-être avancer d'un petit mètre, ou en tout cas être prêt à avancer, quoi. Oh les gars, on a plus trop, on fait ça.
Antonin Roussier, he's got to pick it up for France. And when I look at his body language and I watch him attacking the ball, he's not going for it. He's hitting at the ball at about 75% and hoping something good happens. Well, this ain't a game for hoping. He's got to stay aggressive, hit smart, challenge the block. Tilly down the line, dug by Rafael, but out of bounds. That was a huge swing by the young Tilly. Rafael can't believe he missed that dig, but this was a rocket. Visotto jumps into the cross court. Rafael's in a good spot, just too much heat. Leroux has missed his last two serves, and now he's missed 3 in a row. He'll head to the sideline. Middle blockers replaced by the libero. Lucarelli's been off and on with his serve already with 7 kills. Nice play by Ngapeth. And Legoff able to get the off speed down. The attack in the middle is opening things up for France, making life a lot easier. That was a huge side-out point, and what a pass by Irvin Ngapeth. Teams will go to the sideline. France leading at the second technical timeout, 16-12. Teams back out on the floor. Here's Roussier. Pretty easy jump serve to handle, particularly when it's slowed down off the top of the tape. And Brazil runs that right down France's throat. Good back row quick combination. One of the toughest plays to stop. Legoff, the big middle blocker, number 14. It is just so difficult to tell whether that ball is going to the first attacker or into the back row. Sideout jump floating now on that sore knee. Visotto, smart shot down the line. That ball's got to be dug, particularly by a defensive team the quality of France. Beautiful dig by Lucarelli in the back row. This is just a little wrist away shot. And Ngapeth was in a bad spot. He's got to be deeper, he's got to be closer to the line, and just got handcuffed. And Ngapeth, luckily, down inside, but Brazil able to keep the ball alive, off the foot again. And Tilly takes advantage. Bernardinho is going to challenge. We'll get to that in a moment. Where does this one go? Down the line, and Rafael playing what we call a rotation defense. From the right back position, he's rotating under the block. And Bernardinho going to challenge right now. He thought that one of the French players contacted. The only net violation is at the top of the tape now. All the rest is incidental contact. And no violation, so Brazil has burned one challenge. The lead is 17-14. Biggest lead for France in the set was 4. Visotto one-on-one. These are two outstanding setters, and you know the setting statistics sometimes are a little bit hard for people to understand. They're called running sets. I'll tell you what, for 10 years I had no idea what the heck that meant, but then I finally asked somebody. It's tracking the number of times the setter for their respective team, in this case Bruno, gets one of his hitters one-on-one. One hitter against one blocker. And then it's a running set if the ball is put away. And Roussier, yeah, here comes Maurice Sidibé. And maybe, just maybe, Laurent Tilly waited too long. But I get it. I get it, because they led by as many as 4. Moments ago, they led by 2. Sidibé is an explosive, talented player. They need him right away. Ngapeth high off the late blocker and out of bounds. Really good swing by Ngapeth, and smart. Lucas Satkamp, the middle blocker for Brazil, was late. And so Ngapeth just went right after him and off the block deflection. Here's Le Goff. France back on top by 2. Block, defense, and through the block and down. Back-to-back points for France. Super block that time. And then Kevin Tilly, overhand right to the 3-meter line, which is good enough. You don't have to pass that ball right on top of the tape. Le Goff again. And they are doing a better job of keeping the ball off of Murillo. Another good soft block. Ngapeth again. Timeout, Brazil.
Aqui o cara tocou na bola. Vamos rodar de, vamos rodar de prima. Ouve! Rodar de primeira com calma. Tá? Passe agora pro quadro. Chupita no saque. Vem buscar.
Brazil got within 1 at 17-16, and then 3 straight points for France. And a little bit of a subplot here. Maurice Sidibé, who came in, he hasn't had to take a swing yet, so he's got a chance to get his heart rate up, get his blood flowing a little bit. And Wallace goes right over the top of Benjamin Toniutti, who stands in at only 6 feet, 1.83 meters. High jumping, opposite attacker. Why not go right after the setter? That's a matchup that Brazil's going to win all the time. Lipe coming on now for Murillo, maybe just to serve. Maybe you put Murillo back in to receive. Lipe's got a live arm. It's a good substitution. I like this sub. Ace! Right on cue. See, Murillo, after undergoing the shoulder surgery, he can't hit the ball hard anymore, or at least I shouldn't say that. He can't hit the ball hard right now. We'll see what happens in a few months from now. Brazil back within 2. And that ball, wow, there's going to be a challenge here. I think it was long. I think it was long, but if it was by a whisker. Brazil challenging, and this is their final challenge of the set. This is a huge call. And the ball was good. There it is. Oh, yeah. Well, my eyes aren't what they used to be. I've got a bad angle. That's what it is. I got a bad angle. Look at what a substitution by Bernardinho. Back-to-back aces for Lipe. Oh, and Gapeth off the block and out of bounds. How clever is that? That was a tasty swing. This is so smart. Out of system. The worst thing that happens is the ball is up into the block and France can restart and get a perfect pass in system. The best thing that can happen is what you just saw. And as I thought, Murillo will come right back on. Great serving by Lipe. Wallace over the top, dug by Tilly. Good swing by Sidibe. Wallace again, returning the favor. Very clever off the edges of Ngapeth. France leading 21-20. They led by as many as 4. Smart shot by Ngapeth, giving France another swing, and he scores. After a slow start, Irvin Ngapeth has been tremendous. He was only 3 for 8 in the opening set. What a huge swing. Remember that one. Oh, dug by Grabenikov. That's what you call a running set. Out of system. Watch Bruno here, the setter for Brazil, number 1. Look at this, running, looking, and then all the way back over his head and gets Wallace one-on-one. Brilliant set. Chance for Brazil to tie. Sideout, what a block. And Lucarelli off the block and out of bounds. Tied at 22. France has one more timeout remaining. They have both of their challenges. Brazil has one more challenge. Tilly. Wow, lucky there. Just pushing the ball into the block on a wing and a prayer. Like I said, there are lots of ways to get the ball to the floor. Sideout was there, but he was not over the net. Leroux has missed his last 3 serves. He can't miss this one. Oh my gosh. Leroux tried to serve that at about 50% just to keep the ball in. Wow. 4 missed serves in this set alone. Great pass by Grabenikov and off of Bruno and out of bounds. Unbelievable pass by Garbinnikov, Garbinnikov. We're going to see the end of it, but that was really, really a good jump serve by Lucarelli. And Garbinnikov handled it well. Set point number 1. Wallace missed it out of bounds. We're tied at a set apiece. But we're going to have a challenge. Not yet. Why not? Bernardino just shook his head. And here is the official call. No touch out of bounds. But smart to use it. Why not? Why not? Nothing to lose. You can't take them with you. Ball is out of bounds. France wins the second set 25-23. And the semifinals here in Katowice are tied at a set apiece. You're watching the 18th World Championships. It's an extended break for the teams in between the second and third set. And taking a look at the stats, Ervin Ngapeth, along with Kevin Tilly, certainly the key for the 19 kills over 11. Brazil was much, much quieter, obviously, at the blocking end. After out-blocking France 7-1 in the opening set, they were 1 apiece there in the second. Much better reception, much better offensive system for France. I like that they went to their middle attackers with some pretty good regularity. As this break continues, we'll be back with you in a moment. Paul Sunderland here in Katowice for the FIVB. Thanks for joining us once again for our coverage of the FIVB World Championships. It all began back in 1949. 10 teams. France was one of the original 10 to compete. This is their 15th time that they have qualified for the World Championship. Coming out of the European zone, that's not always a given. But here they are. And right before first serve, I talked about the experience gap between these two teams, and it is wide. Since the World Championships in 2010, won by Brazil for the third straight time. They also won in 2002 and 2006. They've been in an Olympic final, 3 World League finals, and a couple of continental championships. So they have been in this position before. For France, not at all. Zip, nada. They have not been in the semifinals or finals of a major competition since 2007 in the World League, and none of these players were around then. So this is a totally new experience. And that's why I picked, coming into this match, I picked Brazil. Irvin Ngapeth was tremendous in the second set after a pretty slow start, but you could say that about all of France. He was 6 for 8 attacking in the second set. Lucarelli is roofed by Leroux. Leroux. Oh, that's how you do it. See, when you're out of system, all of a sudden the middle blocker has all kinds of time to gather and get in a good spot. Wallace again, that unusual attacking style. Bruno said he's the most difficult player to set, Bruno, the Brazilian setter, that he's ever set, because Wallace is a vertical jumper. He doesn't jump, well, everybody jumps vertically, but you broad jump quite a bit ordinarily. But Wallace just gets to the ball and jumps straight up. And so he wants the ball right on top of the net. And his window, if you will, the area where Bruno has to set the ball, is really small. Just underway here, third set, tied at a set apiece. Brazil won the opening set 25-18. France hung on to win the second 25-23. Sidibe passed the block, but out of bounds. Very early for a challenge. Laurent Tilly thought about it, but no challenge taken. They wouldn't have challenged whether or not the ball was in or out. It was clearly out. The thought on the challenge was whether or not Sideout, the middle blocker, had gotten a hand on it. And the service error by Wallace, playing on a very sore ankle. Brazil has had to deal with injuries to 3 different players. Sideout playing on a very sore left knee, Murillo a severely strained right hamstring, and Wallace a sprained left ankle. And finally, Leroux served a ball in the court. But that's what happens when you serve the ball easily. Kevin Leroux missed 4 serves in the second set and has not been a factor from the service line. France needs him to step up in that area. He was pretty good against Germany and Iran right here in this same building. Tied at 3. Sidibe off the block and out of bounds. That's a confidence builder for number 21. Very small to play the opposite at this level, only 6'4". But that is a good swing off of Murillo, who had 3 stuffed blocks in the opening set. Back row, quick combination. Bruno with a perfect choice. This play is so tough to stop. Look at Le Goff. Tiptoe jumping with Sideout out of the middle, and then he just cannot get back up in time to try to slow down Ricardo Lucarelli. Tied at 4. Out of bounds by Sideout. Just not himself. Brazil has a good backup middle blocker in Eder Cobanera. He's over in the bullpen. Lucas is able to chop that ball to the floor. Good play by Bruno. Getting the ball into the middle in spite of the fact, how far off the net is Bruno here? Not too, not bad. I thought he was more towards the 3-meter line, but when he touched that ball, he was only about 2 meters or so, about 6-7 feet off the net. Perfect pass, Sidibe once again off Murillo. So now an adjustment for Murillo and the other blockers, because Sidibe, his timing is going to be different than Antonin Roussier. Boy, he's got a really quick arm. Look at that. Talk about some elevation. And he does not get a lot of topspin on the ball. And Murillo with a rare kill, a little bit of contact under the net. Murillo, a lot of respect between these players. Murillo making sure that Ngapeth is okay. Just Murillo, they only have him. His only points, that was his first attacking point. His other points came blocking. Good change of pace by Kevin Tilly. And he is not the only athletic brother in the Tilly family. There are 2 other brothers that are doing very well, thank you. Both of them on the basketball court. Lucas Satkamp with a kill. Laurent, the father, one of the most decorated players in France's volleyball history. Kevin, as you can see, doing a very nice job. Killian is 16 years of age. He was most valuable player at the under-16 European Basketball Championships. 25 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 assists, his father was proud to tell me, in the finals against Latvia. Good swing by Sidibe off the top. And then older brother Kim is also on the French national basketball team, competing at the recent World Cup. We've come to the opening technical timeout of the 3rd set, tied at 1 apiece, and France leading 8-7 here in the 3rd.
Moleque assim, ei, o pico da quadra aqui, lá, pensou o seguinte, a saída de rede é mais reto, alcance, reto aqui assim, aí onde ele vem aqui, alcance. Vamos jogar,
If you're not familiar, there's a technical timeout by rule when a team reaches 8, another technical timeout when a team reaches 16, and then each team has 2 of their own timeouts. I think that's clearly 1 too many. Way too many opportunities for stoppages. They talked to a lot of the coaches, and they would be fine with 1 timeout when you know the others are coming at 16 and 8. And Ngapeth trying to go for the short roll serve into the top of the net. Oh, unloading out of the middle off the perfect pass. As I said, that's why you see a lot of tough serves, particularly in the men's game. A lot of spike serves, because you've got to get the offense off the net. The more France can set the middle, the better their chances. Perfect pass by Murillo. Smart shot by Tilly, restarting the point, and looking for a swing there. And Sideout comes right back and stuffs him in the cross court. Watch Sideau's inside hand. There was some room in there. Not a bad swing up into the hand, but Sideau, boy, the middle blockers for Brazil are really good. Lucarelli, the leading scorer so far for Brazil. And Ngapeth for France. Sidibe covered by Grebennikov. Back row combination and a rare mistake. Lucarelli, the 22-year-old, with his first unforced error. And answering right back is sideout. So a real cat and mouse game going on right now between the two setters, between the four middle blockers. Do they commit? Do they read block? And what I mean by reading, middle blocker in the middle of the court, reading the setter and then following the ball, but he's got to rely on some help from his outside blockers respectively. Good play by Legoff to make the first contact. LaRue. Kevin Tilly with a kill off the right side. LaRue and Legoff doing a good job threatening in the middle. There's Legoff this time. Sadkamp, I'll tell you, did a pretty good job to get out there. France leading 11-10. The serving has fallen off for both teams. Bruno taking things into his own hands. Lucas, and almost dug by Sidibé. That's good work cross body. That's where Sidibé, see Legoff is there, but he can only, where's the outside blocker? Where's the right side blocker for France? You got to get in there and help. Sidibé down the line and out of bounds. And now back-to-back points for Brazil, and they lead at 12-11. And that off the block, barely and out of bounds. Good help by Murillo, in with Lucas out of the middle. Both teams being a little more conservative serving the ball right now. And so the first ball side out percentage is going up. Another perfect pass. Boy, it's a shooting gallery right now. So who's going to start taking some more risk from the service line? There's the back quick once again. That is in on the back line. Ngapeth with a good swing. And a little bit of luck there for Brazil. High up into the block. Lucas is looking and looking, and that ball right on. Oh, that might be worth a challenge. But Tilly does not challenge, and it was away from me, but right in front of the French bench. And that ball tipped off the block and out of bounds. Boy, that was very close. See, unlike other sports, other ball sports that use replay, baseball for that matter, tennis has become very well known for the Hawkeye. Ball is hit out of bounds by Lucas, immediately saying, my bad. Indeed it was. But the point I was making about volleyball as opposed to baseball and tennis, when a volleyball hits the floor, it compresses, it changes shape. It's not round anymore. So part of the ball can be out, but it can compress on the line. And that ball's in. So keep that in mind. Any part of the ball on any part of the line. Lucarelli, 12 points through the first 2 sets, tucks that ball inside the block. Great pass by Gravinikov. What a pass by the libero. That's what made the play possible. Yeah, great. Absolutely, show me the pass. Without that pass, France doesn't score. Really well done by Genia Grabinikov, the #1 digging libero so far in the World Championships. Tied at 15 and no more, and Gapeth misses that serve out of bounds. And we've come to the second technical timeout. Teams will head to the sideline. Brazil leading France 16-15 here in the third on semifinal Saturday.
Les gars, ils essaient un chantier flottant, si on peut essayer de servir un peu plus à côté des mecs. Jouez comme vous voulez, d'accord? Là, on est trop là ou là. Essayez de jouer un peu plus court, un peu plus là, pour les faire bouger un petit peu et les faire douter. Ok? Mais c'est bien, les gars. On est patient.
Meio. Vamos fazer já uma inversão agora. Já vai tentar abrir aqui uma inversão. Vamos lá pro quadro agora. Rafael!
Spodek Arena, home of the World Championships semifinals and finals. It was also one of the 6 preliminary sites, and Poland has been a wonderful host. Volleyball is the most popular sport in this Eastern European country, and have already set records for attendance at a World Championships, and it was before the semifinals and finals. Great read by Sideout. On the commit block, see, look, Sideout is going up centimeter for centimeter with Kevin Leroux. Lots of room, however, for Leroux on the cross body. That was a pretty predictable play. Tilly finding a small seam. Double sub on the floor now for Brazil. Visotto up front, Rafael in to serve and to set. Not a good blocking move that time by Visotto. He's better than that. Leroux has not been a factor serving so far. Perfect pass by Murillo. What a pass. A better block of Ilagov. Tied at 17. Both teams have 2 timeouts remaining. Good serve by Ilagov. Coming to Visotto. Sidibe off the block and out of bounds. And it all started with an outstanding serve from Kevin Leroux, who, as I mentioned, has been awful so far serving, but a long way to go, and he just picked it up and helped his team earn a point. Timeout called by Brazil.
O cara fez agora, tá alto. Tá bom, valeu. Passou boa. Passei uma bola pra ele, botou pra outra bola. Não fecha. Só isso. Boa. Atenção. Cuidado agora com o surprise de direção. Eu sou o surprise aqui. Porrada pra cá. Tá? Cuidado ali agora. Cuidado primeiro.
Brazil easily won the opening set 25-18. But then France came out and got off to a really good start in the second set. They led 8-6. They led 10-6. And at the second technical timeout, 16-12. And then Brazil, Lipe came on and served a couple of aces. And it was nervous time for Kevin Leroux and France. But they held on as Wallace hit a ball out of bounds. France won it 25-23. So here we are. Visotto ripping into the cross court. Perfect pass. And this time it was Ilagov commit blocking. Committing on Sideout and giving up the one-on-one to Visotto. Tied at 18. Good rotation for Brazil. Lucarelli, a good server, and also very dangerous out of the back row. But all of that can be forgotten as he served the ball out of bounds. Moret Sidibé came in for Antonin Roussier, tournament's second leading scorer, but he just couldn't get it going against Brazil. Another perfect pass, and Sideout hammers that ball to the floor. Boy, neither team is serving the ball at all well here in the second set. Make it the third, excuse me. Who's going to blink? This is where the experience gap, in my mind, really comes into play. Can France overcome that? Brazil has been in this situation time after time after time. Tough swing for Vizotto, ball coming over the top of his head. And that's going to be a lift. Wow, huge call. The head referee, Nasser Shaban of Egypt. Take another look. Yep, good call. That's a good call. Ball came to rest in his hand, and then Sideout can't take advantage as he serves the ball into the net. Excellent call that time by the head referee. You can't serve Murillo in that situation. What are you doing if you're France? Mario da Silva, the libero, was available along with Riccardo Lucarelli, and you serve the ball right to Murillo. You cannot make that kind of mistake. That's a terrible mental error. Pass the ball perfectly, and an easy first ball side out. Here's Bruno. Off the block by Irvin Ngapeth. Benjamin Taniuti, the setter for France, he's got to stay aggressive because Le Goff was open there out of the middle. Le Goff's going to the sideline, replaced by the libero, but Taniuti's got to stay aggressive in setting his middle blockers. Nicolas Marichal on to serve now. He's got a lively arm. Easy serve off the top of the tape. And there's, ball is almost up. The back one again. And Lipe, who came in and served a couple of aces and almost saved the day for Brazil in the second set, is on once again for Murillo. Off the top of the tape. Ngapeth is stuffed by Wallace and Lucas. And Leroux was open again in the middle. Watch the middle of the court. We're not going to get to see that particular play. Good block by Wallace on the outside. And a timeout is called by France, with Brazil still leading 23-21. That's a timeout whose only purpose, or which only purpose the timeout had, was to try to take away the rhythm and comfort from Lipe, the server. But France has made a couple of errors here. One, I know, was a huge error, and that was serving Murillo, tied at 21. And then Kevin Leroux, the middle attacker, was wide open on that last play off a good pass, and Toniutti went to the outside to Ngapeth. Lipe again. Again to Ngapeth, and missed it out of bounds. Now we're going to have a challenge. Now, if you're not familiar, the rule was changed not so long ago. The only net violation is at the top of the tape. You can kick it, you can fall in it, you can make a mess out of it. There it is, a net at the top of the tape. I could see it on the monitor. Net violation, very good use of the challenge. There it is on the outside, and that's the only violation. I think that's a good rule change. Lippe back to the sideline, Murillo back on. And if France serves Murillo here, their coach, Laurent Tilly, is going to be beside himself. Lucas again. Mario coming through the libero with an excellent pass. And now, look at the difference. Look at Bruno. How many times has he set the ball quick late in this set with the pressure on? Set point number 1. Lucarelli smartly keeping the ball in play. Sidibe over the block and out of bounds, but a touch detected, and Wallace immediately says, yes, I got it. So 1 set point saved. Nice swing by Maurice Sidibe. And what's Urban Ngapet? Got to keep the ball in, otherwise you lose the set. If you serve easily, though, you're going to get it right down your throat. Big serve. What a great serve. Coming to Lucarelli for the set, off the block and out of bounds. There's going to be a challenge. Wonderful shot by Riccardo Lucarelli, the 22-year-old. Into the block, pushed it out of bounds, but France is going to challenge that there was a centerline violation. In other words, a Brazilian player, and it doesn't have to be Lucarelli, was entirely across the center line. Simone Santi, the second referee, has taken a close look, as is Bernardo Rezende. Again, just like the end of the second set, why not challenge? No violation. Boy, it was close. But you can see his heel is still in contact with the center line, and your entire foot has to violate the line. The challenge does not fly, but Brazil does to a 2-1 lead. They take it 25-23 over France. Look at the numbers of the third set. Brazil much better in terms of their attacking. And again, Bruno and Lucas and Sideout combining for any number of really pressure-packed kills. And I emphasize, out of the middle. Where was the middle attack for France late in that set? but France has certainly proved that they belong on the same court with Brazil. They trailed 2-1. Thanks for joining us once again. FIVB presenting the 18th World Championships of men's volleyball. Women's World Championships coming up. I'll get you those dates in just a minute. Poland hosting here. Italy hosted the last men's World Championships in 2010. And the Women's World Championships start on September 23rd to conclude on October 12th in Milan. Benjamin Toniutti to serve first for France. France ranked number 13 in the world. Brazil number 1. France already has surprised a lot of people around the world of volleyball, advancing here into the Final Four, but they have really played well. They were in the toughest group to start. They were with Iran, Belgium, the United States. It was clearly the toughest group. A little bit of mistiming, but Irvin Ngapeth off the block and out of bounds. Just been handed the statistics, and I'll get you the leading scorers through 3 sets here in just a moment as we're underway here in the 4th. Leading scorer for Brazil is Ricardo Lucarelli with 15 points. Leading scorer is Irvin Ngapeth for France. Joust coming there. Wallace will try to keep the ball alive. He does. Sidibe, boy, you could hear the touch on the block. Let's go through the rest of the leading scorers. Kevin Tilly with 11. Ngapeth, as I mentioned, with 14. France could use a little more balance. 3 scores in double figures. Wallace de Souza with 10. Lucarelli with 15. And Lucas Sotkamp with 10. Balanced attack for Brazil. The Spodek Arena. Poland and Germany to follow. Germany maybe a bigger surprise than France that they're in this Final Four. Good block out of the middle by Sideout to slow down the attack, and Brazil with Lucarelli again with his 15th point. Here is Wallace, playing on a very sore ankle, unloads on that jump serve. He's been jump floating most of the time, but he's an unorthodox player, and from the service line, you never know, and maybe he doesn't know what he's about to do. Kevin Leroux, middle blocker, back now for France. He's got to buckle down from the line. He can be an important weapon for France, and he just has not been so far. That ball out of bounds, missed by Lucarelli, and we're going to have a very early challenge. The Brazilian blockers telling their head coach that there was a touch on that play. The ball is clearly out of bounds. That's not what is being challenged. And here comes the call from the second referee, Simone Santi. Oh, they called a net touch. So it was not a touch on the block, but there it is. Good use of the challenge by Bernardo Bernardinho, the head coach for Brazil. Easy serve by Lucarelli. And Mario over the top of the banner. That's the other libero tracking that down. Felipe Silva, Brazil playing with 2 liberos. Out of the 12-man roster, that's dangerous. Maybe on match point, but I don't know about there. There was a lot of stuff over there. Tilly again, one-on-one. So France comes right back. Bernardinho, when I asked him what was the key against France, he said, we've got to be patient because their defense is going to make us play a lot. And finally, France's defense, I think they're the best in the tournament so far. Their defense is starting to come to the fore as that ball is hit out of bounds by Lucarelli. So a rare, unforced error. That ball's out by a meter, a yard, take your pick. And that ball's hit out of bounds. No touch detected. So this is interesting. Challenging a touch on the block. This is interesting because when I was playing, you're always crying about touches, always begging for touches. But now the players are selling their coach on there being a touch, and oftentimes I've seen it a lot. I don't know what this call is going to be, but I've seen it an awful lot where the coach is almost talked in to calling for a challenge by his players. Simone Santi taking a little time. The point's on the board. The call is the ball was out of bounds. And here comes the call. Ball's out of bounds, no touch. That ball is wide of the block. I'd like to see a little closer look. But 7-4 now, France on top. Wallace. Wow, unloading on Grabinikov. That was a facial. And Grabinikov, I should say Wallace. Wow. You know, if you're not getting hit in the face, if you're not getting hit in the chest, if you're not getting hit in the throat, you're not in the right spot. Here is sideout. Ace serve. Wow, what a gutsy serve for sideout because he's playing with a very sore left knee. And he does not have his usual lift. Back-to-back points now for Brazil after France led by 3. And that ball served out of bounds, and we've gotten to the first technical timeout of the 4th set. Semifinals here in Katowice. Brazil leading 2-1, but trailing here in the 4th, 8-6.
Já foi, ponto, recuperamos ponto. Rodar de primeiro, o que não pode é o seguinte, sai com o lado do cara rápido, Mário. Subir a bola, Mário. Bum, 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 bum. Tá rodando na bola aqui também, fonte.
On va chercher la ligne, mais c'est bien, c'est intéressant de venir chercher dans le dos du passeur et après aller chercher Murillo aussi, d'accord? Se matcher, tu balances, ok? Allez,
Teams buzzed back out onto the floor. Not a lot of recent history between these two teams. Last meeting in 2013, each winning in their home country. Bruno, first time going quickly on the second ball, the dump by the setter. And Gopeth was there. That was just a better play. Bruno's a good athlete. He spent a lot of time in the weight room. He's really improved his body. He jumps a lot better. Sidibe again. Maurice Sidibe coming on for Antonin Rouzier. Rouzier, a heavy resume. Second leading scorer in the tournament, but he was totally ineffective so far in this semifinal. So he was taken out, and Sidibe has played very well. Oh, what a crush. That was out of the back row by Lucarelli. Watch the broad jump. Taking off behind the 3-meter line and then hitting that ball from about a meter off the net. And France returns the favor, but dug by Brazil. Good shot into the block to restart the point. And down the line. Really good, smart volleyball. Kevin Tilly with a wonderful dig off the tap down from Lucas. And then the smart shot by Irvin Ngapeth. And Lucas again taking out Kevin LaRue and Wallace off of Ngapeth and out of bounds. This is the job of the setter. How many times one-on-one? How many times? Because the attacker has a huge advantage. Lucas been pretty quiet serving so far. Sidibe. Bruno with some room. Not enough middle attacking from France. Sidibe with the swing. Brazil is challenging that the ball was down earlier in the rally. I was blocked out. It has to be determinative. If the video proof is inconclusive, if there's a body between the camera and the ball, the call on the floor will stand. So the call is the ball is up. So Brazil is out of challenges. And the lead for France is 11-9. Ball served out of bounds, and should be pointed out that Bernardo Rezende is on his best behavior because he was fined for some clearly inappropriate behavior at the match against Poland in Łódź the other day. He and his team refused to attend the press conference. There were some things said right after the match, and he was disciplined by the FIVB. Oh, that ball goes down. Little confusion between Ngapeth and Toniutti. And just like that, tied at 11. See, Wallace is just keeping this ball in play. A lot of smiles on the faces of Brazil. How many times have they been in this situation? Tremendous advantage and experience, as I've mentioned a couple of times. Ah, dangerous. Rybnikov with a ball handling error. As the libero, when he sets the ball overhand, he's got to be behind the 3-meter line. And that was really poor judgment. Timeout called by France.
On garde la frustration, on gère, point d'après, ok? Allez, gars, rush!
Talked about Brazil playing in the finals of the last 2 Olympic Games, lost to the United States in 2008. And we're up 2-0 against Russia in London in 2012, and eventually won the silver medal. France, the last 2 Olympics, didn't qualify. Coming out of the timeout, Wallace misses that jump floater into the top of the tape. Good serve by Leroux, finally joining the party in that phase of the game, and a better block. Legoff and Tilly on the outside. Lucarelli has slowed down a lot since the second set. Other than the back row quick combination, look at Legoff. Actually overran the play. Sidibe was in a good spot, but got a little bit fortunate. Ace serve by Leroux. Timeout, Brazil. Kevin Leroux served exceptionally well in France's wins over Germany and Iran here in Katowice. But he was not good at all to start this match. And Laurent Tilly told me, he said, every day we practice, we warm up, and then we serve. Starting to pay off for Kevin Leroux.
Continuidade, 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 não precisamos pressionar os caras. Bora, bora.
Spodek Arena, downtown Katowice. Every seat has been sold for months on end. You think it's loud now? Wait until the second semifinal, Poland and Germany. One-on-one once again. Excellent, excellent set that time. Look at Bruno. Not exactly the position you want to be in as a blocker, but that'll happen sometimes. Excellent offense by Brazil. Looking for the hands. Murillo not getting it. Nicolas Marichal coming on to serve now for Kevin. No, coming in to block for Tilly. Thought he was going to serve for Sidibe, but no. France now leading 15-13. Play out of the middle once again. Brazil has continued to stay very aggressive. Their middle attackers, you know, when you look at the leading scorers in the tournament, you really won't find, other than Ricardo Lucarelli, who's number 7, you won't find a Brazilian player hardly ever in the top 3 or 4 or 5 because they've got such good balance. Brazil a chance to tie, and there it is. 15-15. Sideout is putting on good service pressure here. Last time through, remember, he served an ace down the line, and this time a bad pass forced against Irvin Ngapeth. Tough swing from Marichal. Into the block and on the sideline. Oh, a little bit unlucky. And Brazil will take it. Into the block, rattles, and in, and Grabinikov did not have a play. So the teams will head to the sideline. Brazil coming from a couple of points down to lead 16-15 here in the fourth. Brazil looking for an opportunity to play for their 4th straight world championship. Nobody has ever won 4 in a row. the Soviet Union, not Russia, the Soviet Union has won the most world championships with 6, followed by 3 apiece, Brazil and Italy. Coming out of the technical timeout, here is sideout, told by his coach to keep this ball in. And another nice kill by Sidibe. The kill is fine, but again, still France just not setting the middle nearly often enough. That ball off of Murillo. Sidibe has come in and played very, very well under a lot of pressure. Into the middle again. And Le Goff just absolutely vacated. Watch number 14. He's gone. That's a great read by Bruno. Le Goff didn't think there was any chance that Bruno could get the ball into the middle. Off the block, off the edges again by Ngapeth. France can win this match if they set a couple of balls into the middle. Maybe one in transition, maybe one when you don't expect it. But they just can't keep going to the outside. Ace serve! That'll help the cause. Nicolas Le Goff with a jump floater. Sometimes it floats long, sometimes it floats short, sometimes it's perfect. Little confusion. Ngapeth gonna take a swing and tucks it down inside. Just an incredible swing by Irvin Ngapeth. Boy, the blockers were over the net. This one just, oh, it went inside the hand of Lucas Saatkamp. Boy, he is technically such a sound blocker. Don't see many timeouts called in slow motion quite like that. Brazil led 16-15. They've been outscored 4-1. Le Goff continues to serve exceptionally well. Lucas easily over the top of the block. Johan Mel had come in for Benjamin Toniutti. He's even shorter than Toniutti, but a better jumper and technically a better blocker. Here we go again with this critical substitution. Lipe coming on to serve for Murillo. He served 2 aces in the second set. He has been superb as a serving sub. Good set to Ngapeth. Oh, and Bruno dug the ball, but Lucarelli could not keep it alive. Big break for France and Ngapeth. Boy, he has really played a smart match. He's hit so many balls off the edges of the block, off the top of the hands. Here's Toniutti. Oh, it's stuffed by Ngapeth one-on-one. I mentioned that Ricardo Lucarelli had really slowed down since the second set. Wow, why is he tipping that ball? He just mistimed it. Now a 3-point lead for France. And again to the middle. Two blockers there, but Lucas just too high. France leads 21-19. And the ball's out of bounds. France can side out their way to a fifth set. Back to Wallace, off speed and stuffed by Leroux. This first semifinal is going to 5. Irvin Ngapeth wanted to get there in a hurry. He has played so well. Here's the double substitution. Rafael and Vizotto coming on. Bruno and Wallace will go to the sideline. Rafael is a very clever server. France has got to be on their toes. Out of the middle again. And Brazil is within 2. Will Benjamin Toniutti set a ball to the middle? Le Goff and Leroux have been ignored offensively. Sidibe comes through. Laurent Tilly told me he had total confidence in Maurice Sidibe because he has played his best matches in big moments. I know they haven't played in a while, but against Brazil. Set point number 1. And that ball served out of bounds. Boy, that was careless. Ngapeth has missed one. Set point number 2. That was careless. You got to keep the pressure on Brazil. You got to be able to serve at 80% and serve in. Sidibe off the block and out of bounds, and we're going to the tiebreaker. The teams have exchanged sets. Brazil winning 1 and 3, France winning 2 and 4. And in the first semifinal, we're going to have a 15-point tiebreaker. This is the 18th World Championships from Katowice. In spite of the fact that Brazil had more kills in that set, look at opponent errors. That number in France's column, that number 9, that represents the number of errors by Brazil. So an error, ball served out of bounds, a violation, a block, a touch on the top of the net, a ball hit out of bounds. I picked Brazil in this semifinal. I thought France had a chance to make it tough, but I'll go back to what I've talked about an awful lot. Experience is hugely in the favor of Brazil right now. Huge. This is the 5th 5-set match for France so far in the tournament. It's the 3rd for Brazil. France went 5 sets in a losing effort to Italy. They beat Belgium. They lost to Poland in 5, and they beat Iran in 5. Benjamin Toniutti will serve for France. Lucas again. And the theme continues. Lots of middle attack from Brazil. A lot of that has to do with the fact that Brazil is passing well, yes, but also Murillo can't attack the way he would ordinarily with that shoulder that he had surgery on. Finally, a set out of the middle from France. It seems like it's been an hour and a half. Brazil, as far as their 5-set matches, they went 5, surprisingly, against Korea, went 5 against Poland, and this is their 3rd. Lucarelli, he's got to pick it up a little bit for Brazil. Was absolutely superb through the first couple of sets, but he has fallen off. 7th leading scorer so far in the tournament. This 5th set tiebreaker will be played to 15. Teams will change sides when one reaches 8. 2 challenges, 2 timeouts. Bad set, ball set way too tight. Ngapeth out of the middle back. Irvin Ngapeth has been the best player on the floor so far, not only because of his offense, his defense, and he's one of the key receivers for France. Lucarelli one-on-one, leaving no doubt. Bruno has set a brilliant match. Once again, one-on-one, Le Goff, number 14, completely out of the play. Back row combination, Wallace has got it. Murillo pushing into the block and down. In 2010, Murillo was the MVP of the World League Finals and of the World Championships. He's now 33 years of age. He's been battling injuries, particularly to his right shoulder, the last couple of years. That ball served out of bounds. Murillo representing the first couple of volleyball, if you will, these days. His wife, Jacqueline Carvalho, 2 times an Olympic gold medalist for Brazil. They just had their first child 9 months ago. Arthur. Wallace crushing the ball down the line. That's just too good. That offense is too good. And Nicolas Marichal staying on now, blocks in a pretty good spot. Marichal replacing Kevin Tilley, the coach's son. Good set to Marichal. Where does this go? High off the hands and out of bounds. What a world-class set and swing. And add to that, a brilliant dig by Grebennikov to start the opportunity right there in a good spot. This is a fabulous set and an even better swing. Or remember that swing in transition. Brazil leading 5-4. Ball was tossed way too far out in front. And you got to hit it. You can only toss it once by rule. Poland and Germany to follow. Quick set again. Finally, Benjamin Toniutti is going to look off and going to Leroux out of the middle. Got to do it. You've got to keep the middle blockers for Brazil honest. Otherwise, it's just too hard on Ngapeth Sibide. Ngapeth off the block and out of bounds, tied at 6. Off the block and out of bounds. It bears reminding that Brazil, the 3-time defending champions, ranked #1 in the world. France, ranked number 13 in the world. An unlikely participant in the final 2 groups, making up the last 6. And even more so unlikely that they would be in the semifinals. But they have proven they belong. Here is Lipe again. Off the block and out of bounds. What a play by Toniutti. You have no idea how good a play that was. Ball passed right on top of the net. Benjamin Toniutti, all of 6 feet tall, 1.83 meters, about, my gosh, what does he weigh? About 60 kilos, maybe less. That was a huge play. Teams will change sides after this point. Lucarelli, 1-on-1 again. Play is to be continuous. Brazil leading 8-7 at the side change. I've said it before, but just so we have a moment, I have no idea why the teams change sides. No idea. I can see it 30 years ago when maybe the buildings weren't quite as good as this and the lighting wasn't quite as good. You change baskets in overtime, I don't get it. But that's just my opinion. Beautiful arena. Built in the 70s, obviously all new lighting. Here is Lucas. Wallace through the block and down. What a good dig by Bruno. It's not must-have yet, but it's getting close. France is in trouble. And Leroux bails him out. Kevin Leroux, 6'10", 2 meters, 9 centimeters. Just hanging and throwing that one back. Well, kind of. Big play by France. Boy, did they need that. And the ball is out of bounds. Really, really good work by the bench, the coaching staff, and the teammates for Brazil. And where does this set go? Again to the middle. It was clearly out. Clearly out. Brazil still leading by 2. Here comes the double sub. It strengthens the front court. Rafael more than capable in the back row. Visotto up front. Brazil looking for a chance to make it where no one has gone before. For 4 world championships in a row. Stop block by Lucarelli. France has got to call timeout. And there's the buzzer. Beautiful blocking move into the cross court. Lucarelli's a cool customer. Set was perfect. And so was the block, unfortunately for France. Brazil leading 11-8. Brazil going for 4 in a row. France trying to go where they have never been before. They've been to a semifinal in 2002, but they have never been to the finals of the World Championship. Rafael again. Must score for France. Dug by Murillo. And that ball's down. What a dig by the reigning World Championship MVP. Brazil is 3 points away. And now they're only 2 points away. Timeout called by France. Brazil has battled back. They lost to Poland 3-2 in the opening match of the 3rd round. And then they came back to beat Russia 3-0 to advance once again to the semifinals. They've had to deal with injury. They've had to deal with controversy. After the Poland match, their head coach and their team and team representatives refused to talk to the press, refused to attend the press conference. They were disciplined and fined by the FIVB. But they are a couple of plays away from going to the World Championships once again. Ngapeth, he's been great. I can say it now, it's in the 5th set. Irvin Ngapeth has been absolutely great so far in this match. He plays such a big role for France. And right now, they need a miracle. Murillo with the pass, and Visotto, Leroux. France is going to get a swing, and they get it. Beautiful dig by the long-armed Kevin Leroux, and now Brazil will call timeout.
Já foi. Ei, atenção, tá? Parou. A fita, pelo amor de Deus. Calma aí, vamos. Você joga solto, vai dar pra cá. Você em cima. Não, desculpa, o Lucas tá lá. Fica solto, você no meio, tá? Fica aqui, solto, calma lá, tá? Valeu, galera. Vamos rodar agora.
Leroux again, good serve, handled nicely. and out of the middle. Really good game plan. Really gutsy by both Brazilian setters. This time, Rafael. 4 match points for Brazil. Second semifinal, Poland, a big favorite over Germany. Sidibe off of Murillo and out of bounds. Murillo pointing at the floor, saying that Sidibe was under the net. And we're going to have a challenge. Really interesting, because Brazil has 3 more match points. No, they're going to wave it off. I thought so. I thought so. Match point number 2. Bisotto not there yet. Bisotto for the win, and missed it out of bounds. So now it's 14-12. Brazil has a timeout remaining, and they're going to use it right now.
Atenção, por favor, tá? Facou esse cara, ele veio para queimar um contra um, tá? Puxa pro lado, pra cá os outros, pra ter o Leandro lá, os dois aqui.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Brazil passes the ball well, this ball's going to the middle. That has been their biggest advantage throughout the course of this match. And that would be to Sideout out of the middle. Sideout, a little bit of a gimpy leg, so here we go. Match point number 3. To Bisotto, and there it is. Brazil's going to the finals again.